I remember the first time I saw Mulholland Drive by David Lynch. It was such a unique experience. I didn't expect it to kind of take that turn it did. It kind of has that weird, strange aura, but then you know how it takes that turn. I remember when I watched it as probably a teenager, it kind of just it blew me away, and then I watched it with Mike McCollum, Totally Not a Squid. It was a day that the lights, all the power went out, and I watched it a few weeks before, probably a couple of times, and I hit him up, and I was like, "Hey, is the power out in your area?" And he's like, "Yep." So I was like, "You want to watch a David Lynch film on my laptop?" And he's like, "Yeah, let's do it." So he came over, and at that point, I don't remember if we were still in high school or just out of high school, but he came over and we're next to each other and we're watching on just my laptop. And I remember it was such a crazy experience. It blew his mind, blew my mind, even however many times after that. And why I'm bringing this up is over a decade later, I've seen it a couple of times around that period, and then I always had it in my memory and always had it in my mind, but I remember rewatching it over a decade later. It was at the Trilon Cinema. I think at that point it might have been the Trilon Micro Cinema, the art house theater in Minneapolis. And I remember watching it and having such a different experience. I mean, I still loved it, but I was watching it and kind of putting pieces together and seeing different keys and different moments that things made a little more sense to me. It kind of reminds me of, I used to work at Barnes & Noble, and there was a guy I worked with, he's kind of a very quiet man. His name was R. David, and he worked at the information desk, and he told me he was at this point, right? We worked there for a while. He was he was reading Brave New World, and it was the first time in decades from when he was younger versus when he was older, and having just a different perspective on it. And I hear that people reading Catcher in the Rye, where you kind of side more with the kid when you're a kid, and as you get older, you kind of have a different perspective on things. I remember the feeling and the aura of Mulholland Drive being just so different that I don't know, I've just been thinking about that a lot. So if you care to, what were experiences that you have watched a film when you were younger and saw it much later, and just the vibe or the story or what resonated with you? In this case, for me, Mulholland Drive was just this crazy wild, I couldn't put anything together when I was younger, and then when I'm older, it seems like I can kind of grasp it a little more. What was one of those for you? Please comment below and give a like and subscribe. I need it. This is all I have.
Octopus here! Welcome to night one of the Octopus Marquee Independent Film Festival. Independent Film Festival. Let's watch the movies.
My eyes. I need a bib.